Saturday afternoon, hot outside for a July summer day, and I am sat here in my apartment alone, as usual, but truly by myself because my neighbors around me have decided to leave. Normally, they are always here, keeping me company, being noisy and disturbing. So I thought I'd just go ahead and record something because this type of quietness and peacefulness is rare where I live. Just got off the phone speaking with a couple of people. One is a family member, my sister, who's always a great comfort to me. And the second was a former co-worker. I was recently terminated from my job after working in a hostile environment. And instead of feeling upset, I am actually relieved. Emotionally, mentally, I am in the middle of healing now. It's been a week and a half since that event took place, and I can tell you that as a Black woman, it is a joy to be able to go with my day, get up in the morning, go to bed at night without having that job on my mind. I don't mind working. I never did. Actually, there are some jobs I was pretty proud to be in, especially ones that required, education and teaching, which was one of the best jobs I could ever have. Even though I didn't get paid shit, it was still fulfilling to me. This job started uniquely for me. I started where it was a new building, so I was left alone a lot as clientele was just starting to come in and the team hadn't even been formed yet. So there was a restful period that I was able to have for almost 3 months. This was in late 2019, early 2020. And there I had a huge revelation about coming events that we are now living in. In the scriptures, it talks about the Hebrew Israelites going into New Jerusalem. And it also talks about the fall of Babylon. And for most churchgoers, or even people who chance to hear or read about the Bible in any type of depth, you would readily recognize that Armageddon, or the fall of Babylon through fire, would then subsequently force the modern day quote unquote Pharaoh to release the slaves that came by way of ships into the promised land, or what is spiritually known as New Jerusalem. Well, the creator of the universe has enlightened me more upon the subject, even given an outline of how these events will occur. And at the beginning of the job, to which now I have been relieved of, at the very beginning, at the start, I had approximately 3 months of uninterrupted time where the prophecy of coming events was given to me to write out and disseminate. Not to any one people or group, but to actually just get on paper. They say it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God, and not so much as being scared and shaking in your boots, but a fear of awe, a frightfulness of something so powerful and glorious that you could scarcely believe it to be true. And this is what happened to me in those early months of my time at the former employer I worked for. It was every day throughout the hours, along with doing the tasks that was asked of me throughout the new job that I was training for. But for the most part, for extended periods of time, I was just left alone. And again, as I said, this was something that I had never experienced in my life. I am now in my 50s, and so, I was in my mid 40s when I started, and so I had never experienced anything like this at all. Suffice it to say, I knew that it was a divine will that allowed me to be released from one job and then literally picked up within a matter of hours by the the current job, to which at that point I was able to use as God's hand to pour out His or her will. And so I'm here to have you consider that in the Old and the New Testament, but especially in the Old Testament, when it says that God's children will be sent out of Babylon with great substance, and that they would come into the promised land, or Jerusalem, consider that those who are now called descendants of American slaves, who have been in North America and have gone through chattel slavery, and their descendants, which are alive, we are alive here today, that not one of them will be touched by Armageddon's hand. Why? Because, as I had explained to a relative of mine, the descendants of American slaves, whatever sins their ancestors had committed against the creator of the universe, those sins have been long since paid for, and that what has happened to us after the payment of the sin has been an egregious and a calumny to the creator, the Most High, Jehovah Nisi Yahweh, or Allah, however you may term the creator of the universe, in what form you may find most pleasing and applicable to your worship. Things are moving in a rapid pace, and I would say, for the first tip for you to consider if you are listening to this recording, as I have said to many people that have come in contact with me, create a bug out bag. You see them all over the internet. Get a small backpack if you have a vehicle, a car. Collect items that you will need essentially to take with you if you need to leave your home for a moment's notice, especially the children of Israel, the Hebrews. Be ready to move. A couple of blankets in your car or mode of transportation that you have. Make sure you have bottles of water. You can even have sleeping bags if you can fit them, depending on the car, if it's you or your family. Have flashlight, batteries, dry foods, masks of every sort, if you can obtain them. Change of clothes, maybe 2 or 3 pairs of change of clothes. If you have sandals, boots, mountain boots, and just put them in your car. Again, you can go on the internet, especially YouTube or even other social media platforms, and just put in, when the shit hits the fan, bug out bags. I would encourage every Hebrew, every Israelite, every child of the slaves or descendants of slaves to prepare yourself for moving. I'm here to say I don't think it's going to be much longer now. And most of these items you can find at the 99-cent store, your nearest Dollar Tree, and or even at a thrift store, so it doesn't have to be expensive, it doesn't have to be extravagant. However, if you can't even afford a tent, you can also do Walmart. I think they still have them as well. Or you can order online, but something that you can put in to your card for you and your loved ones, whomever you may have with you. Put enough where you could be able to survive as comfortably as possible for 72 hours, maybe even 96. For the descendants of slaves, I believe that your journey through Armageddon will be one of traveling to New Jerusalem. And this is the reason why I am encouraging you to have a bug out bag. so that you may get into your mode of transportation and be able to move at a moment's notice. It is my belief in my heart of hearts that you will not suffer much else. Although you may view and be a witness to Armageddon, in and of itself, it will not affect you to the degree that you may be called upon to leave your current residence at a moment's notice. So that's what I'll say for now. I will upload a few more videos in preparation for what is to come. If you like this particular video or find it inquisitive, don't hesitate to share it. Don't hesitate to hit the like button. Be speaking to you soon.